Hey, and happy Friday. This is our 20th Clean My Space Live, and I just want to welcome everyone who joined us today. This is going to be an amazing chat, and I know a lot of you are really excited to meet our guests today. I'll just remind you, feel free to drop where you are watching from in the comments. You can say hello, you can send super chats, you can send stickers, you can join our membership program. There are so many fun things that you can do. Oh, hey, Nicholas. So many people are popping in to say hi, and I'm going to be showing it here on the screen as well. Okay, so let's get to the guest. Today's guest is Carolyn Forté from Good Housekeeping, and Chad's going to bring her up. There she is. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi,
Welcome.
Melissa. How are you?
I am good. I am so happy to see your smiling face here.
Thank you. It's really great to be here. I'm super excited.
Oh, yeah, I'm so happy to have you. So I feel like you are really a cleaning celeb. And for anyone who doesn't know Carolyn, I'm just going to tell you about her. So Carolyn is the executive director of the Good Housekeeping Home Care and Cleaning Lab. I had to write down your title, you know that, because it's just long. But Carolyn is the person at Good Housekeeping who filters and studies and tests all of the cleaning tools and products, appliances and more, well, cleaning appliances and more. She has had her hands on absolutely everything, and she's been in this role for the last 40 years. She has great relationships with brands and manufacturers. And I'm telling you, if there is one person in this world who knows cleaning products and tools inside out, it is this woman right here. So I am so excited, Carolyn, to have you. You are such a boss.
Thank you, Melissa. That's very kind and very, very generous of you to say, but it's a pleasure. Yeah, it's been quite a ride. It really has. Whoever would have thought, right?
I
Cleaning
know.
has come so far, and I'm so thrilled that I've seen so much. So we can talk a little bit more about that today.
Yeah. And I do have your Instagram account, your handle that people
Okay.
can follow you at.
Yep.
So, what's really lovely about Carolyn? Like, she has this incredible job, but then she also has an Instagram account and she answers people on Instagram. So you can go ahead and DM Carolyn anytime you have a cleaning question. And in
I
fact, I'll
tried.
tell you sometimes, like I have emailed you before and I'm like, hey, I just need your opinion on something. And you're just such a fountain of knowledge on this stuff. So I just feel so lucky to have you in my circle. And I just appreciate how thorough and well researched you are, and how deeply you care about getting the right information out to consumers. And that's really what good housekeeping is all about anyway.
It really is. We're not alarmist. I mean, and never in my wildest dreams would I've ever thought cleaning would have been such a hot topic on social media. But there's a lot out there that's not correct, and we don't think is responsible. And good housekeeping. I mean, good housekeeping has been around since 1885, so we've been doing this a really long time. And it's the kind of thing where we feel we really want to be the voice of reason out there. We want to really guide consumers properly. We want to dispel some myths that we think are dangerous or harmful. And that's how we've been able to build the trust of our readers and our followers for so long. So it's our mission at Good Housekeeping, and we take it very seriously. We do.
Yeah, you do. We have audience members from all over the world. So for folks who are outside of North America and they might not be familiar with Good Housekeeping, do you want to just share quickly what the publication is all about?
Sure. We started with a magazine in 1885. And it wasn't owned by the Hearst Corporation at that time, but was purchased in the early 1900s. In 1900, it was a time when there was, a lot of misinformation in ads, in products. New products were hitting the market, so consumers started writing to the editors of the magazine and said, what should we do? Should we buy these? Should we not? So they set up what they called the Experiment Station, which has turned into our Good Housekeeping Institute of today. And in 1909, we started our Good Housekeeping Seal, which is one of the most widely recognized emblems in America. And, our mission today is very much on par with what it was from the very beginning. And, we're looking at different products, and technology's come a long way, but there's certain things like cleaning that's part of our Good Housekeeping DNA. I mean, our name is Good Housekeeping after all, and I think always will be. So we in the Good Housekeeping Institute, like you said, I head up the home care and cleaning lab. And we look at anything and everything related to cleaning. So we evaluate household cleaning products and formulas like detergents and all-purpose cleaners and polishes and those kinds of things. We do the tools like the mops and brooms and scrubbers and all of that. And we do a small and major appliances. So we look at vacuum cleaners, irons, garment steamers, carpet cleaners. We look at washers, dryers, and dishwashers. So if it cleans up at home, it comes through my lab. And, it's our job to evaluate the products, see how well they perform, recommend them for our Good Housekeeping seal if they pass our tests for that, or recommend them in our editorial pages in the magazine or on our website as well. So it's, and we come up with all the hints and the tips and the tricks that go along with keeping a house clean. It's a lot.
Yeah. It's amazing. And I remember in 2019, we came to visit you at your office, and that was so exciting. And is it true that that's open for consumers, or is that just for cleaning celebrities like myself who get to come through there?
Well, we did have tours to the public, but we had to stop those right as COVID happened. So yeah, we did put an end to that, but we're starting to discuss whether we want to pick those up again. So we did have tours to the public twice a month, the second and third Fridays of every month. But we've stopped that for now, but it may happen again. So keep your eyes open, but we're always open for guests like yourselves, industry contacts, relatives come through. So we do have a lot of people coming through the Institute.
It's a pretty cool place because, for someone like me who doesn't have, let's call it laboratory access and the amount of resources that you have to put into all of the testing that you do and the comparison. And the thing I'll say is you're so objective. Like I remember you showing me your stain panels, and you just had these stain panels and you would stain the same square, the same type of material with the same stains, and you would test all sorts of stain removers and detergents so that you could have like an objective opinion or an objective response to what does perform best in this washing machine, or does this detergent outperform this detergent. And I can have an opinion, but what's amazing is just how well informed you are because of the depth of the lab. Okay, we could talk about that all day. I want to just remind people that they can put any cleaning questions they have. I'm gonna take a back seat. I'm just gonna throw everything at you because my friends, we have the best of the best here today. And I want Carolyn to answer all of the questions. So if you have a cleaning question for the literal queen of clean.
Oh my gosh,
please.
No pressure, right? No pressure.
No pressure. No, Carolyn, you know it all. Please put it there in the comments so that we can have a look. And we are getting some questions, which is amazing. And so many people are saying, hey. I'll also tell you real quick for the audience, we've got some sales over at Makers Clean happening this week. You can go to makersclean.com or makersclean.ca. It looks like we've got on sale, we have our Makers Mop, which is on sale for $49. It's regular $70. It's got a 5-star rating with over 800 reviews. And we also have the whole home cleaning bundle, which is regularly regularly $115 on for $80. And that just comes with a whole bunch of cool stuff. So you can go to makersclean.com and check that out. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to ask some audience questions, and then I actually put some questions together too, because I just think your job is so fascinating and there are things that I want to know as well.
Okay.
All right. I also want to send a quick thanks to Libby for being here today. Libby is one of our supporters on the Clean My Space membership program. So Libby, thank you. It's so nice to have you here. Our first question comes from a Sense Common. What does an average day look like for you at the Good Housekeeping Institute?
That's a nice question. Okay. Well, one of the things about magazines is that you have to be very flexible. So one day can be, a variety of different things. We're working on some digital content. We've got some products that are in for evaluation for a Good Housekeeping seal. So these things are all going on at the same time. Of course, there's meetings and things like that I have to attend.
Zoom calls.
We've got tours coming through. Sometimes we'll be working and then all of a sudden, there's a group at the door. And as Melissa knows, our labs are all under glass. So anyone coming through can just walk through the halls and see what's going on. But needless to say, when they're there, they always have some questions. So we pop out into the hall, we bring them in. So there's always that kind of interaction. But, it's a day where there's a variety of things going on, and you just have to keep all these balls in the air. Some days it's just strictly writing. Other days it's more activity in the lab. And I love when we have a chance to really get in and do some testing. So, I work with my team, and we could have something happen, something goes wrong. Sometimes, not all testing goes right. So we have to powwow and figure out what went wrong and how we can fix it. So
and then of course, no pressure, but then of course you have to get your one pager out every month for the magazine.
Yes, exactly.
No pressure.
There's always that.
Yeah.
There's deadlines. And
the
thing is, just to kind of explain a little bit, cleaning really touches everything. So there's so many other people working on other things that need cleaning advice that come to me. So, if somebody is doing a story on high chairs, I don't cover high chairs, but they want to know how to clean them, or car cleaning, or I get requests from other Hearst magazines and websites to put a little cleaning tips. So it's not only Good Housekeeping, unfortunately.
Yeah, no, you are a very popular lady in the Hearst community. I will say that your name everyone knows. All right, we've got a question from Alice Schaller. There's mold in the front load washer. I've used everything and I can't get it clean. Any suggestions?
If it's in the gasket, is it in the gasket? I don't know if that's where she's seeing it.
I'm gonna assume it is.
Yeah. I know that's tough. It may just be, it may be residual stains. I would just put a little bleach solution on there if that were me. It's really important to dry it out. Sometimes keeping the door open isn't even enough. I know that's recommended, but if you can be really fastidious about drying that out and drying the door, that really helps. But I would say put a little bleach and water solution on a cloth and wipe it there.
Like
apply
a 10-to-1, like a 10-to-1 water to bleach.
I would do it stronger. I would.
What would you?
Yeah, I would do I don't know, maybe not quite half and half, but 1-to-4, that kind of thing. Just give it a little. And what you might want to do is, if there are stains there, that you can't get out, try putting a cotton ball or a little cloth or a paper towel with the bleach solution and just leave it in there for a little while. It may not wipe away, but over time it could help bleach out those stains.
Oh, see, that's a good tip.
Yeah.
I have bleach anxiety. I'll tell you. I find bleach makes me nervous just having it in the house, because I feel like I can do more harm with it than good.
I love bleach.
Do you?
Yeah, I do.
Goodness.
I do. Wow. I think it's safer than we think it is. Sure, you don't want to get it on your clothes and you don't want to splash it, but yeah, I just feel like it's really a good tool to have around. It's good for stain removal. Safer for a lot of colors than people think. You have to test it first, obviously. You can't just go using it willy-nilly, but I like bleach.
I'm going to have to pick your brain about that after this, because that is really interesting. Okay. Here's one from Diane Bond. What is the best way, you're going to love this one, to remove stains from clothing?
Oh, stains from clothing is, I think, always has been and always will be, the most troublesome thing when it comes to doing laundry. I think my most frequently asked question through the years is always about stains. And one thing we always tell people, which Melissa says too, is, don't put it in the dryer if the stain hasn't come out. But sometimes when the clothes are wet, it's hard to tell if the stain is out or not. So it looks like it's out, right? And then you say, okay, I got it out. And you toss it in the dryer, and then there it is again. So it's always a good tip to air dry your clothes before you, before you're unless you're sure, absolutely sure it's out. But put something underneath. Try to tackle them as quickly as you can. Work quickly, but work gently. You don't want to braid the fabric too much. And I think sometimes you need to try the most gentle thing you can find first, and then work up to something a little bit more strong, or a little more
like a dish soap, like a dab of dish soap or laundry detergent.
Yeah. Even some of the laundry bars, that the laundry stain scrubbing bars, do a good job. Actually, sometimes do better than the pre-wash stain removers. So sometimes
Oh,
a little soaking sometimes is required on really tough stains. I like to say that with stain removal, there's is a little bit of magic and a lot of luck and a lot of science. So there's a lot going on there. Sometimes you're lucky, sometimes you're not. There's no magic wand, unfortunately, but
that feels, in my experience, entirely accurate. I was going to say one of the things that I learned, and I just realized that my flat weave microfiber cloth matches my outfit
it
today.
does. It looks
But one of the things that I've learned is to hold the fabric up to a light source, even when it's wet, and then you can look right through it and see. It kind of helps you gauge the stain and whether it's still there, even when the fabric is damp.
That's a
That's
good
been
idea.
helpful for me.
See, I'm learning from you too. It's a great tip.
Yeah, well, you know where I learned it? I learned it when I was at the P&G headquarters. They have like a light spectrometer.
Right, right.
How
That
can
they,
I replicate
yeah.
this at home? The sun. So yeah, if you just look for a window and you hold the fabric up, it'll beam some real bright light through, and
And
you can have a
you
good
can see
look.
the outline of the stain maybe if it's
That's
smooth.
right. The ghost of the stain. That's what I
Right.
call it. The
That's good to
ghost.
know.
Okay. You know what? I think on that note, one of my questions for you that I'm going to ask you next is, what are some of your favorite laundry do's and don'ts, and some of your most frustrating? Oh, sorry. Let me reread this. What are some of your most favorite laundry do's, and some of your most frustrating laundry don'ts?
Okay. So favorite laundry do's. I mean, I'm a big sorter. I really am. I think it's so important. I know people love to fill the washing machine and do as few loads as they possibly can, but I like to sort my clothes, and I'd rather do more smaller loads than fewer bigger loads, honestly. So that way I find it
Yeah.
easier to get through them. It's not such a big folding task, and I've got everything sorted. So I think that's important. Pre-treating stains, like we said, is really important.
Yeah.
Just taking the time to close the zippers and button the buttons and, turn things inside out if you want something cleaned from the inside more, like turtleneck sweaters or cuffs or whatever. So just taking the steps to make sure that the load is set up properly. Measuring your detergent. It's super
Oh,
important.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to use the right amount. You don't want to
Yeah.
use too much, and you don't want to use too little. So, so doing that, I think, is important. Some of the things that I find frustrating are, like we said, when you don't see a stain, but I'm going to try holding it up to the light now and see if that helps me out. Some of the things we've seen that I think kind of take a little bit of control away from the consumer when it comes to doing laundry, which I'm not a fan of. Like, a lot of machines now have preset cycles. So that way, they determine what's a warm wash, what's a cold wash, what's a warm dry, what's a hot dry, for different settings, for delicates, for normal. And I like a little more control. So, I mean,
Yeah.
I don't like the idea of, I realize it's done so that way people don't damage their clothes inadvertently. But, for those of us who are really into doing laundry, I find it a little frustrating to not be able to put my
Yeah.
cycle on a higher temperature that I want it. So that, I think, I'd like to see that, something that would be changed. And not all manufacturers do that. Some give you more,
Yeah.
some give you less. So if you're looking at a dryer, you're looking at a washing machine, try out the cycles and the presets and see if it's something that, that fits with what you like to do.
Is there anything that you see people do with laundry and you're just like, no, 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 that's a don't. Don't ever do that. Stop
Yeah.
doing that.
Well, overstuffing the load, I mean,
Yeah.
that's bad. That's just bad. These machines are great and they're super big and they hold a lot, but they do need room to tumble. You can't cram everything in there. The clothing won't get clean. It'll be rubbing against each other. It'll take longer to dry. So, so I would say that's a big no-no. And then just choosing the same cycle all the time. I mean, that's not, it's easy to just push one button and set one cycle and that's it. But there are different cycles on the machine for a reason, and they do different.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
really is about taking care of your clothes. It's not just about
Yeah.
getting through laundry and getting it done with. It's about taking care of your clothes. And that's really,
Yeah.
when you think about, sustainability, and we're all worried about how much water we use and the detergents we use and the chemicals we use. But if your clothing's not going to last and you're getting rid of it and buying new clothing, that's not so good either.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I will say my washer and dryer has an app, and I can go in and I can manually change a lot of the presets
Oh, that's good.
on the app, which is pretty cool. So yeah, I'm a cold water washer.
Yeah.
And so even on like my normal setting, which I think, enjoyed the warm water, like
Right.
as its standard setup, I changed that to cold. And then, like I always have cold as the default, which
Right.
a lot of folks can do it on their washing machines if they just take a couple minutes to figure out how to do it. And
Right. And
yeah,
if
I
yours
know
is
it's like
connected to an app, that's great to go in and explore that even more.
yeah. Oh, okay. And you know what? I'm going to ask your opinion on something else. And if you're not comfortable sharing, you can always just say skip. But I would love to know. So many people get embroiled in this debate about top load versus front load machines. Do you want to talk about it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Actually,
Okay.
it's very timely because I think, what is it? My May, June story coming out in Good Housekeeping is a comparison.
Oh.
So I did kind of a this or that. I compared uprights to canister vacuums, front load to
Oh.
top load washing machines, and garment steamers to irons. So that's kind of what we did there, 'cause those are
Oh, that
questions
sounds like
people
a
ask.
really good one. I'm going to
Yeah.
read that. Yeah.
And in our tests, they both clean well. So it's really, it comes down to personal preference, what you prefer. I think you'll get good cleaning. It'll be a little bit better cleaning on front loaders. So if you do have a lot of heavily soiled loads or things like that, you might want to think about that. But
That is so
overall,
interesting.
yeah,
Everyone would say the opposite.
yeah. I think because of the action, the mechanical action of the machine and everything. Whereas the top loaders, there's two types. There's the type with the agitator and there's the type without the agitator.
Yeah.
So, with the agitator, they are more gentle than the machines of yesteryear that we all grew up with. So, even though they have an agitator, they're not as aggressive as they were years ago. The ones without the agitator, they kind of bounce around. The clothes bounce around under that shower of water. So, I think with the tumbling action of the front loader, you really get good cleaning. They're both gentle. I can't say, and it differs more in our tests at Good Housekeeping. We're actually starting a test of washing machines soon, so we're going to be looking at a whole big category test this year. But I think it varies by brand, so it's hard to say top loaders are better at this, front loaders are better at that. Some brands are better, some brands are gentler, some brands are better at cleaning. It depends on their mechanical action. So I think it's more important, to pick a brand than to go with, and then just use your personal preference for top or front. Front, like we talked about already, you need to maintain them. So you have to be willing to, they do have that little hiccup about keeping water inside. Top loaders drain better. So that's easier. But you know what? I'm barely 5'1", and some of the wash machines in our lab are so deep, I can't even.
Yeah, you can't.
I can't.
I know, like
I can't get the thing at the bottom.
That's the thing with top loaders. I feel like you have to be tall to use a top loader if it's deep, or you need like a stool or a platform.
One of those grabber things. Grabbers,
exactly.
So to me, all right, that I find that annoying. I don't like that.
Yeah. No, I trust me, I'm with you on it. I'm a front load girl and I'm very happy with my machine. All right, Lisa Taylor says, oh, okay. I can't get my head around not rinsing before dishwashing. Isn't it going to make the filter really bad if I don't rinse first? And I'm going to add something onto that. Do dishes get truly clean if you don't rinse them before you put them in?
Okay, let's start. When we do a dishwasher or dishwasher detergent test at Good Housekeeping, we put stuff in the dishwasher that no one in their right mind would ever put in at home. So we use very heavily soiled loads and everything. We do that as, to make sure that we can discriminate between machines and detergents. So, but for the most part, everything comes out really clean. So you don't have to pre-rinse. Pre-rinsing at the sink just wastes water, uses a lot more water than you would necessarily need to use. But you do need to wipe or scrape the dishes off. So you don't want to put heavy chunks of food, and certainly you don't want to put anything like, bones or whatever in there. But so I would scrape off all the excess food. If you haven't, napkins or whatever that you're tossing, paper napkins, just wipe the plates off and put them in. So you don't need to rinse them. I think that's fine. That's if you are washing the load right away. Okay. If you're going to load up the dishwasher and run the cycle, great. If you're not going to run the cycle and you're just accumulating a full load, then I would rinse them. I would either rinse them at the sink quickly, or I would use a rinse only cycle in the dishwasher, because otherwise the food really gets dried on, and it can starts to smell, which isn't good. Now, to her point about the filter, yes. So the more you leave on there, the more the filter is going to trap, and then you need to clean that. So that's why I think just scraping them or wiping them is a happy medium between, not having to waste the water and keeping the filter clean. But you should go in and check your filter, every so often.
Yeah, good point. I have a little spatula that I use, and I just go.
Yep. And right into the trash. Yeah. I mean, it's not a garbage disposal. It's a dishwasher. It's not a garbage.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Although I will say, like, I'm a bit of a jerk toward my dishwasher. I challenge it a lot. So,
okay.
And it's survived.
Yes.
It's survived so far.
But you want the dishwasher to be clean too. So, the filter and, things splash around, and, you want to keep the frames clean and the door frame clean and all of that. So, it's not a garbage.
Yeah. If someone walked into your house versus if someone walked into my house, they would have an entirely different experience.
I don't know about that.
I think so. I think your house is going to be immaculate compared to mine.
But, you have to take care of your appliances too. If you want them to last, you have to really, they do need some attention.
Totally. No, it's totally true. All right, so here's one from Libby. Libby joins us each week. She says, I have a Bosch dishwasher and it's not releasing the soap or drying properly. Yeah. Is it time to replace it? And thank you, the Fresh Wash and Cascade Platinum Plus and baking soda got rid of coffee stains. I'm so glad to hear that. Thanks for reporting back, Libby.
Now, we're not releasing, so something's wrong with the timing. Either the door's not opening to release the detergent. And that's why, just a little tangent here, you don't ever want to just toss, if you use the single-use packets for detergent, you don't ever want to just toss those in the bottom. You want to put them in the dispenser.
Yes.
Because otherwise, in the pre-wash portion of the cycle, they will start to dissolve and get washed away before the main wash. So always put them in the dispenser. The dispenser opens at the time it's supposed to in the cycle. Now, if yours is not, then there could be something there, it's a control issue or whatever. And then she said it's not drying, right? Is that what she also said? She's not drying? Yeah. That drying is a big problem with dishwashers. And it all kind of started a few years back when energy requirements were tightened and they had to meet stricter energy requirements. So some of the drying, heated drying, was removed. So you get condenser drying. Actually, Bosch, I don't know how old your machine is, but Bosch has a great system for drying. It's called Crystal Dry. And it's got little minerals or crystals in it that remove the humidity and the moisture from the air, from the warm air, and recirculate dry air back in for better drying. So it might be worth upgrading to a machine with a Crystal Dry. But I would, see how much it costs to have a service person come in, because I think they can fix that dispenser issue for you. And if you have so what I like to tell people is if you have a cycle or an option that says turbo dry or drying boost or some sort of drying enhancer, I would select that, because what many companies did was remove that ability to dry from the main cycle. So if you just push the cycle, you're going to get whatever the cycle has. If you hit the drying boost or the turbo dry or whatever it's called, you'll get extra drying, and that could help.
Oh, that is really good to know. I found if I want to be like more energy conscious, I'll run the cycle, and when it's done, I just open the door and then I let it dry overnight that way.
Yeah. That's good. But I live in New Jersey. We have super hard water here, so sometimes I go for the drying cycle, so I get rid of the spots and the hard water residue.
Fair. Absolutely fair. All righty. I've got a question. Actually, I'm going to ask you one of my questions now that we're talking about dishwashers. So I know you wrote a piece for the magazine a while back. I remember reading it and thinking, oh, Carolyn's got an opinion on this. So my question is, let's talk about some right ways and wrong ways to load the dishwasher,
Okay.
and some of the big mistakes that you see people making when they're loading them.
Yeah. Well, just like we talked about with laundry, overloading the dishwasher doesn't help either. I know you want to get everything in there and cram it in, but if the water's not going to hit it, it's not going to get clean. So, you just think about that. And there's racks and shelves and tines that go up and down and things like that, for a reason. So take advantage of those and use those to your advantage. Generally, most people put the plates on the bottom, the cookware on the bottom, glassware, lighter things up top. Back to Bosch for a second. They have a brand new thing that they just came out with this year, that where the bottom rack, you can, through your app, you can control how much pressure goes in each quadrant. So you can actually put glasses in the bottom rack and wash them on gentle, and cookware in the bottom rack and wash it on tough, all in the same load. I mean, which is brilliant. So those are the kinds of innovations that, excite me and that we get to see. But back to the dishwasher, for flatware, if you have a basket that goes in the bottom rack, that's when you need to think about how you load your flatware. If you have a top tray that you put your flatware in, that's kind of solved the flatware loading problem a little bit, because you just lay the items in. It doesn't matter what order you put them in, and they'll get clean. But if you're using a dishwasher that has a bottom rack basket, we always recommend put the knives down with the blades down, put the spoons, alternate the spoons up and down, so that way they don't nest. And we recommend the forks up. You be careful when you unload it, and try to grab it from the handle, not the tines. Obviously, that's clean or going to be going into your mouth. And that's where you get the best cleaning. Many flatware baskets have the grid on top that you can just put the flatware in, which is great. If yours doesn't, or you need to get more in than the grid accommodates and you want to take the grid off, then just keep that in mind in terms of putting them up and down.
Do you find that the top tray, like the top rack, that third little skinny rack, in your testing gets cutlery or flatware as clean as it should be? I have one, and I'll tell you, when I don't pre-rinse, I don't like, some of my stuff doesn't always come out clean.
Really? No, I haven't had that. Do you lay them in the little slots, or do you just put them in?
Of course I do. Of course I do.
Good.
That's the one thing I do.
I know.
Yeah. I think it's because, you know what, I, as I said, I'm a bit of a jerk to my dishwasher. So I don't like, I'll make yogurt and then just throw the spoon.
Oh yeah.
So I probably have to do a better job at rinsing, or scraping,
right,
thicker stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I get, like, most of my stuff comes out really nice. It's just every now and then I'll get like the odd piece of cutlery that doesn't come out clean. And people have asked me about it too, and I'm like, I mean, I think it works. I think it's great. I love the functionality of it. I love not having to have the basket at the bottom, because it just frees up so much more space.
Me too.
And
I just feel like every piece is separate, so there's more chance that the water and the detergent's going to get around. I mean, look, we all have things. I had a dish the other day I put in, and it had guacamole on it, and it was not much guacamole, but it had dried on. And so I put the bowl in the dishwasher, and I was trying a new detergent that someone had sent. So I tried it, and it didn't come clean. I said, So I put it back in, and I ran it again, the next load, with the same new detergent, and it still didn't come clean. And then I said, okay, so I'm thinking it's the detergent. I didn't want to think it was my dishwasher. So then I ran it with a detergent that I know I like and really works, and it still didn't come clean. So I took it out and washed it by that point. And it was so easy to wash off that I was like, if I could wash it off in like 2 seconds, why didn't it come clean in the dishwasher? I don't know.
Yeah. These things happen.
There's always something, right?
Yeah, these things do happen. All right, let's get a question in from Renee Smith. What is the best product to clean fabric baby toys or tummy time mats with that can't be submerged. And Renee joins us very regularly. So it's lovely to see you here, Renee. Hey there.
Mm,
Yeah, this is a good question.
yeah. Let me think. Let me think. They can't be submerged. So I'm guessing spot cleaning them is the best way to go. I
Yeah.
probably would use a little, a little dish soap and water, I think, in a mixture and just dip a cloth in and clean them that way. Um, One of the things you can always also do for toys and things that aren't really super washable is steam them, with a garment steamer. So that will help kill any bacteria. It'll help kill dust mites. It'll help kill anything and help clean and freshen it without actually having to submerge it. So I think
Yeah.
the best thing is to use a cloth and then dip that in to clean any stains or any residue, and then probably steam it afterwards, just so that it's.
Yeah. And Renee, one of the things that that I really like for dish soap, like I'll use Dawn, but I'll get the free and gentle version. Um, so it doesn't have any dyes, it doesn't have any scents, and
Right,
I just know how sensitive babies are to scent, and
right.
yeah, that was always important for me. So yeah, picking that version is great. And Carolyn, I agree with you. And then I'll also say, like, baby stuff very easily gets dirty again, so don't stress about it too much. And building a little immune system
It's not
is
bad idea,
important
right?
work. Yeah. So I always say that, like, people will ask me, I wonder what your opinion is, Carolyn. Like, they'll say, oh, like, what disinfectant should I use in the bathroom? And I'm like, well, you can use a disinfectant, but also just let your body be exposed to some bacteria. It's okay.
And don't go crazy with it. I think
Yeah.
we all, like, when COVID came, we were washing the groceries and everything. I mean, it just kind of raised our awareness level about things. And
Yeah.
so yes, it's important to think about how germs are transmitted and where they can be transmitted. But I think if you don't and disinfect the areas that you think are most important and the ones where
Yeah.
where it's high touch surfaces. But you don't need to disinfect every surface. Like, when I see a disinfecting window cleaner, I'm like, why are we disinfecting the windows? It's like, you
I'm
can
with
get
you.
you get
It makes no
a little carried
sense.
away, a little carried away.
Totally. Totally. All right, here's one from Juju who's saying, do you recommend to use the self-cleaning option in the oven? And what product do you spray in the oven, I suppose, before you self-clean?
I recommend self-cleaning. I think they're fine. I think they're safe. I think they save a lot of work. Having said that, there are things you can spot clean the oven with too, as well, if you don't want to run a whole self-cleaning cycle. I don't know that you're supposed to spray anything in the oven before you run the self-cleaning cycle. Honestly, I think you're just supposed to run. I don't think the manufacturers advise that. So I would really check with your brand. There's a little bit of an issue here that I still haven't resolved, and all of the range and oven manufacturers that we evaluate at Good Housekeeping say don't use oven cleaner in a self-cleaning oven. Yet the oven cleaner manufacturers tell you that they're safe to use in self-cleaning ovens. So I think consumers are kind of, left in the middle here and figuring out what to do. Um, the oven is expensive, so I would follow what the manufacturer says. I've
That's
had
my
people
advice
write to me
too.
that say they used oven cleaner in a self-cleaning oven and it damaged it. So you don't want to void your warranty. You don't want to damage the inside. So I would stick with that. But if you do want to do some spot cleaning in between, I think there are things that you can use. You can use one of the things I love is Dawn Power Wash, which is a dish spray, and it's
Love it.
great for spot cleaning.
Yeah.
You can use a little baking soda, make a baking soda paste, and put that on any spots or things that need a little bit of attention before you run a self-cleaning cycle. You can do a job on your oven door, which is often the glass in the oven door is often splattered with grease. So you can give that a little bit of attention with something like a dish spray or a scrubber pad. Vinegar and water kind of a mixture would work as well. So, but I would definitely listen. They're self-cleaning for a reason. It's making it easier on you. So I don't think there's any trouble using it. We test them all the time at Good Housekeeping. We're always running the self-cleaning cycles.
Yeah. I think, like, Why fight it? If an appliance has a self-cleaning feature, by God, clean for me,
Yes,
please.
exactly.
Um,
And to make it easier, definitely if you're making a pie and it drips over, or you're making something and it splatters, wipe up any excess. Don't let it sit there and accumulate. That'll make it easier to self-clean, and it'll keep you from having to self-clean it as often if it doesn't. Or, just do a touch-up on your oven door if you need to, if the rest of the oven
yeah.
is so bad. So, it's not something you have to do all the time, but you should use it.
Okay, I have a personal oven question for you, like from the Melissa Maker archives. So what do we do about the inside of the glass in the oven door? Because that drives me crazy.
I know. I mean, I I've seen obviously where you can take it apart. I just think that's a bit much to do. What do you have, drips in there? What's in there?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, who knows?
Yeah,
It looks used.
it looks used.
Mhm.
It is annoying. I'd give the manufacturer a call just first and see what they recommend. Some are made to come apart and clean, others not so much. So just be prepared and think about what you're doing before you do it.
Okay. Okay. I see where that advice is going. Okay. Here's a question from Ginny DeSimone. I get a lot of streaks with my quartz cleaner. So what's a good one?
Really? I'm surprised, because actually
Me too.
that's a new category that we're starting to see more of. As quartz countertops have become more popular, um, if it's an actual cleaner made for quartz, it shouldn't really be streaking. Um, but there are some new ones out. That one I just got a sample of that I'm hoping to test soon from the people at Hopes. Hopes is one of my favorite cleaning products companies. They make perfect glass, perfect stainless. So
Oh yeah.
they really do a really nice job. So I'm thinking that might be one to think about. It's brand new. It just came out. They just sent us a sample, because they have a glass cleaner that is amazing and doesn't streak. So I'm thinking it's kind of like the same technology. But
But streaking shouldn't happen on quartz. I
I don't
almost
think so.
wonder if it's like a sealant or a polish that you have, because it shouldn't streak.
It shouldn't streak. And unless the cleaner is too soapy. That's the only thing I could think of. Because you don't want something that's going to be too soapy, and that's what will leave a residue. So you might have to rinse it. Most of them just say spray and then wipe. That one might need rinsing and then buffing dry to get rid of the streaks.
Too much work.
Which is an extra step.
Yeah, maybe try something different. Or I've had really good luck with like just a little drop of dish soap and water.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dish soap is so good.
Or even, we've tested a lot of all-purpose cleaners too, and some are soapy. Some are more soapy than others. So
yeah,
one that's not so soapy, I think, is a good choice.
Yeah, like a thinner solution. So I want to ask you, just on another personal note, what are some of the most exciting innovations that you've seen in the cleaning space that have come out in the last year? And you don't have to name names necessarily unless you want to, but I know like you and I see a lot of things. You definitely see more than I do. And I would just love to know what's caught your eye.
Well, one of the things we're excited about, and we did a big test of this, is the new detergent sheets or swatches that are coming out. It's a whole new form of laundry detergent. And we did a big test. We tested like 24 of them early on last year, but it's going to be time to do it again, because there's a lot more out on the market, and from a lot more mainstream brands, which is very interesting. Normally these innovations come from smaller brands in the green space, but now we're seeing major detergent manufacturers coming out with sheets, which is a good thing, I think, because with the R&D that they have behind them and the ingredients that they have available to them, that to me says that once the big guys jump into a category, it really gets good, and the efficacy often goes up. So so I'm excited about that for a number of reasons. I think it's it's a change in a category that hasn't seen a lot of shakeup in a long time. So and the idea of plastic bottles and recycling is such a huge environmental issue. I think this really addresses that.
Like the shift in packaging. I know I've been hearing so much from our audience just about, you know, how they want a product that doesn't come in a plastic package.
Right.
I know when I've chatted with these manufacturers, I mean, I just pass on. I almost feel like a politician sometimes. I'm like, this is what my constituents are asking for.
Yeah,
You know, I
exactly.
just go and I'm like, I mean, it's important to me too, but I just feel like on behalf of the Clean My
Of the
Space
people.
community,
Yeah.
yeah, I just want to say, like, you know, this is what people are asking for. What are you thinking about doing?
Right.
And just for the audience to know, like people like Carolyn, people like me, when we get to go in front of these manufacturers, what you say matters because that's the information that we will then take to them and pass along. Like they can do focus groups and research, but then when they have people like us
Yeah.
in, you know, in the room with them, we can really give them some in-person feedback about what we're hearing on the ground. So your comments never go unheard. And believe me, like the manufacturers hear about it. So you should know that.
Absolutely. Especially if something goes wrong. If we're hearing a lot of people are having a negative experience with something in particular, or what the problems are, the pain points, if you will, with traditional products, they want to know that. They want to know that. They want to be
Yeah,
able to fix it. Yeah.
of
Another
course.
thing that I've seen that I think is really cool is the whole move towards really high-end fragrances and cleaning becoming more experiential, if you will, as opposed to functional. And I think that's a nice move for this industry because, you know, product packaging is looking better. We're seeing better design in tools, which I think is really important. Um, and the fragrances, I think, starting with very much smaller brands, are making a huge impact that the big brands are taking note of. Some of these fragrances in these cleaning products are like, fine perfume fragrances. They're really beautiful.
Well, it's funny you say that because I remember reading, I won't name names, but it's like a very high-end perfume brand, one that I quite enjoy.
Yeah.
And they came out with a cleaning product. Mind you, they never sent me samples, which I sort of felt sad about. But anyway, I'm not angry. But they did come out with beautiful cleaning products, including like an all-purpose cleaner, which I thought was priced exorbitantly.
Very expensive, yes. So
But
they
I
make
can
they make nice
only,
gifts. They make nice hostess gifts if you want to give them to someone. But
yeah. But
yes,
how nice would that be as a cleaning experience, just to feel really rich for a couple of minutes, you know, to
yeah,
clean with that like high-end perfumery, with, you know, to clean with their cleaning product. That would be so nice. And you're
absolutely.
right, like it really, it allows you to luxuriate in something that feels otherwise
Yes,
domestic and unenjoyable.
I think so. I think so. It's a nice touch, I think, and it just kind of brings attention, to an important area, whether it's doing dishes or cleaning your counters or, whatever the product is happens to be for, gives you a little bit of a little boost while you're doing it.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Here's a question from Tracy Zalowski. What is the best way to clean a ceramic stovetop? Everything
Oh,
I use leaves streaks.
yeah. That's another thing. You know, that they're really important to get that residue that builds up on those stovetops off. So I would recommend wiping it, after every use, really, because sometimes you don't even know that there's little splatters on there, and then they just build up and bake on and dry on. Not for induction. Induction's easy to clean because it doesn't heat
Yes.
up, but the
I love induction.
but the
I love
ceramics,
mine.
yeah. But I think for let me see, we found a lot of good cleaning products specifically designed for glass cooktops. One in particular, which is really cool, is from Scotch-Brite, and they're actually stovetop cleaning wands that you don't even use any cleaner on.
Oh, the purple ones.
The purple ones aren't they really
Yes.
good? They're
Yeah,
really
I've
good.
tried those too.
I really like those. You could put a little on, but don't put too much, and then just give it a rinse and buff it dry. I think if you buff it dry, you'll be okay. But
Yeah.
most of the creamy cleansers can be hard to rinse off.
Yeah.
So, just
What
use them
would
judiciously.
would you ever suggest someone go at it with like a pumice stone or super fine steel wool if there was buildup that was really, really challenging?
Well, they say that you can actually clean it with a razor blade. I mean, a lot of cooktop manufacturers recommend it. I mean, A Fresh has a razor blade. Wyman has a blade that comes as part of a kit. One of the things I think you might want to consider is using a paste instead of a liquid. I think with the paste cleaner, you can really control how much you put on and then
Yeah.
just focus it in the areas and rinse it off easily. Believe it or not, I think pastes are something I'm seeing starting to come and become more popular, I think, in our cleaning arsenal.
Yeah.
Liquids can get messy. Like, even the creamy liquids can go over and be hard to
Yeah.
rinse off. So a paste, I think, is a little drier and you can control it a little better and get rid of it.
Yeah. I've actually had some really good success with cleaning paste too. So I'm glad that you mentioned that.
Yeah.
All right. I've got a question here from Nicholas Hackett. When you test things, do you try supermarket brands from other countries like the UK?
That's a good question. We usually don't. Our readership, we actually have a sister publication in the UK. We have a Good Housekeeping in the UK. It's still part of the Hearst family. They have an institute over there as well. They don't have a Good Housekeeping seal,
Oh.
so they kind of do their own thing, and they have their own.
Oh.
Yeah. But we're in touch with them too. Sometimes they'll ask us our test methods. We'll ask them what they're doing. In our tests, we pretty much stick to US and brands that are available in Canada as well. But
Oh, that's good to know. Yeah, I guess so many of the Clean My Space audience is in Europe as well. So I'll often hear about like Sainsbury, Tesco,
right.
Fairy Liquid, Ariel.
Yes.
Like you hear about all the European brands, and then I'm like,
Which are
oh, like
very much,
maybe I need to.
from the same companies that are making the
Yeah, yeah, of course,
brands,
of
it's
course.
just
But
different
I'm
names.
like, maybe I need to go to Europe and load up a suitcase with some cleaning products and come back.
I like to hear about them
Expense
though, and
that
I'm
trip.
starting to get pitches from UK PR companies. So, if it's a product that's available online and you can buy it no matter where you are, that's certainly something we would consider including in our test.
You should recommend that they fly you out to Europe to test the product and then say, and I'd like Melissa from Clean My Space to
Okay,
join me.
we'll do that. Let's do that.
Oh, okay. Here's a brand specific one. You can skip it if you're not comfortable. Tiffany Medley says, I was just wondering how you feel about using Folex as a stain remover.
It's for carpet and upholstery. Yeah, we've had success with it. So, I know people rave about it. I don't
Yeah.
know that it was, it's the only thing that is the best that we've ever seen. But yeah, I've used it to remove stains from wool carpeting, and it worked very well. So
Yeah. I was at my sister's house on the day of the eclipse, and I brought my Folex with me because she said her kids got marker and chocolate on the couch. And I was like, well, I have the solution for you. And I had her film it. And then my brother-in-law was there as well. And he's like, get this stain and this stain. And
did it work?
it did.
Good.
It did. I've had some really good success with Folex. But
Good.
you're right. It's great for carpets and upholstery, but it's not like a one size fits all.
Right.
The other thing I'll say about Folex is a lot of people ask like, what's in it? They say it's non-toxic, but then I don't believe they disclose their ingredients. So
No, I don't know. But
I think that's
well, they
an
don't have
interesting
to,
one.
they don't have to. I mean, it's not
Yeah,
required by law.
that's
Most
right.
companies that's another thing we're seeing is transparency with respect to, cleaning
Yeah.
product ingredients. And generally you can go online, they publish their MSDS and you can go, or SDS,
Yes.
and go look at them.
Okay, I have a question here from Oisin McCrory. And Oisin, I remembered how to say your name from last time. Why does lint come off clothing in the tumble dryer?
Oh, well, there's action going on there. The clothes are tumbling around against each other. And fibers, first of all, they've been through the washing machine, so they're, a little bit agitated.
It's like skin cells, they shed.
Yeah, they shed. So more agitation in the dryer. The dryer, fortunately captures it, and you got to clean that out. But they break off, and that's what pilling is. Pilling is abrasion of the fibers that then ball up and get stuck on the clothes that you have to then get off. So, most fibers are made with short fibers. So if the longer the fibers, the less they're going to pill. The shorter the fibers in the threads or the yarns, the more they're going to lint and pill.
Yeah, and that's something you have to get really nerdy about textiles to know about that. But I remember even when I was at P&G and we were learning about fabric care, like they took us through a textile lab to teach
Yep.
us about. I know you guys have a textile
Right.
lab too at GH. But yeah, like we spent time learning about textiles, and it's so interesting how even the fabric affects your clothes and how well they wash and how
Right.
long they last and
Yep.
how good they feel and look. Like it's even
And think
down to
about,
the
wearing
threads.
them, as you wear a garment when it's brand new, everything is so smooth and, silky and feels good. And then the more you wear it, the more you wash it, the more worn it gets, the more stretched it gets, the fibers get worn. So all of that contributes to dryer lint, I guess.
Yeah. So yeah, that was an interesting question. Okay, so I have a question for you, and I'm going to make this our last question. But you have told me this before, and I found it so interesting. I want you to share it with our audience. How did you get your job at the Good Housekeeping publication and the Good Housekeeping Institute? Like, what sort of educational background did you have to get there, and how did you work your way up the ladder?
Well, when I went to school, it was called home economics. I have a bachelor's degree in home economics with a business option, a minor. And I always I loved writing. So Good Housekeeping was a place I wanted to be. I always enjoyed that. But I love the science part of it too. So I knew I wanted to go into business. I knew I wanted to do something where I combined, an analytical look at things and then could transpose that into something that our readers would find helpful and informative. And Good Housekeeping was the place to be. I didn't start out at Good Housekeeping. I started out when I started, I was in Montgomery Ward. That was the department store out of Chicago at the time. And they had a testing facility in New York City. So I worked there for about a year and a half doing all the textile testing, flammability, color fastness, stain removal, shrinkage, all of that. And then a position opened up in the textiles lab at Good Housekeeping. And I applied for it and got that. And that got me in the door at Good Housekeeping. After about 3 years, I did textiles. I loved it, but I don't know. It's just something about it wasn't really totally for me. But so I was thinking about, next steps and found a position in our home care and cleaning lab, home appliances and cleaning products lab opened up as associate director. And I applied and got it and just fell in love with the category, with the industry, learned so much, had a chance to really establish the home care and cleaning space at Good Housekeeping as a standalone department, which was really a great opportunity, and kind of, put it on the map, if you will, as far as the industry goes. Lots of media and TV and things have come my way through the years, which has been great. So it's been quite a ride.
There you go. There's your
Yeah.
Chad pulled up your bio page there on
Yes.
the magazine website. Yeah, you have a really, really amazing career. It's so fascinating. And I'll just say, as someone who's been in this space since I've been in the online space, I would say since 2011, like you have an incredible career. I rely on your information. So I'll say this, like, and just so the Clean My Space audience knows, like when I do my research, I will go to sources. Like I'll look online and see, okay, what's Carolyn's opinion on this? Because I know I can trust her and I know how well researched she is and how experienced she is. And I think that that's important for you to know, just when you're doing your research about cleaning online, is to go to people who you can trust, and go to people who do the research and have the knowledge, and the backing to do that. So just a reminder, you can visit makersclean.com. You can find the cool items that we have on sale there. We've got links in the description box. We've got our membership program that you can learn more about up on our YouTube channel, which is a lovely way for you to show some support to us here at Clean My Space. And then do not forget to follow Carolyn on Instagram over at Forté Carolyn. You can see her handle there. And of course, to pick up Good Housekeeping and follow them online. Like their articles are incredible. Their Instagram account, so informative, lots of really great reels. Yeah, Carolyn, it was so great having you on today.
Thank you, Melissa.
So much for sharing.
It's a pleasure to be here. And again, it's been great working with you all these years. Your products are amazing. We've given them awards for our cleaning and organizing awards. So they really, they do the deal. They test out very well. Your audience needs to know that it's a good investment. So thank you for everything. And thank you for all your support as well.
Thank you so much. And thanks everyone for tuning in today. And I hope you have a really wonderful weekend, and we'll see you soon.